Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to another Jurassic World Alive guide. Haven't done one in a while. Been slacking off doing some, working on some of my personal projects in game, as you probably might have noticed, some green dinos, which I enjoy a lot. But anyways, now focusing on you guys. Let's do a team building guide again. Haven't done one since 1.2, didn't do one for 1.3. 1.3 I personally didn't enjoy too much, but 1.4 is a very interesting one. The meta for 1.4 is very diverse, I'd say. So I think it warrants a team building guide. So today we're doing local 3 first. And if you're wondering, why local 3? Why not start from local 1? Well, because yesterday on a stream I asked, whoever first posts their local gets to do their local first, and I'll probably do that from time to time for the last 3 locals. So if you do want to get your local uh, done first, then come visit my streams and be as fast as a typer as you can, and tell me which local you want to do. So anyways, starting off, we have the local 3 spawns. I'll just go over them real fast. We got Trike Gen 2, Erlich Gen 2, Erlich, Diplo, Gorgo, and I'm going from order left to right, top to bottom. Sucatator, Tajangosaurus, Iguanodon, Monolophosaurus, Spinosaurus Gen 2, Spinotoraptor, Carnotaurus. And then for global spawns, Data on Dusk, we got Apatosaurus, Monolophosaurus Gen 2, Apelsuchus, Amargasaurus, Trike Gen 2, Rex, Draco Gen 2, Anki Gen 2, Ophiuchodon, Velociraptor, Dipodactylus, Caprasuchus, Baryonyx, Brachiosaurus, Stegosaurus, Dimetrodon Gen 2, Hatchiopteryx, Nodosaurus, Ankylodon, Utahraptor, Notapatosaurus, and Amargacephalus. Alright, so I'm assuming you guys all know what those are. So anyways, let's get into it. So when you first start the game, you will be given 3 dinos to choose from, and a lot of people choose Velociraptor, and it's not a bad pick. It used to be either a split between Velociraptor or Ionosaurus, but now that Ionosaurus moved to parks, and so did Nudosuchus, I think the best choice is Velociraptor now, since it will be harder to level Ionosaurus and its hybrids, which is why it used to be so good, and now it's just not that great anymore, I guess. And also got the Ionosuchus also got a nerf, so that's that. So pick Velociraptor, and then while you're playing, the first commons you will see around you will be Stegosaurus. Oops, I did not mean to click on it. So you got Stegosaurus, and then next is Dimetrodon Gen 2, and then Ophiuchodon, and those are all, anytime global spawns, so you could see them day or night, so these are pretty easy to get, so it doesn't matter when you start in the day, start in the night, you should be able to see these dinos quite often around you. And then you got Apatosaurus, that's a day-only dino. And then you got the night-only dino, that is decent for starters, is Anki Gen 2. And then you have your local 3, exclusive to local 3, exclusive to your zone dinos, which are Iguanodon and Triceratops Gen 2. And you could, I guess you could swap any one of these out for Diplocalus, which is decent too, if you find some trouble with one of these, or if you just have a lot of Diplocalus DNA and you could just level it up more than any of these, and you could put them you could put it in here too, for probably you could put it in for Ophia or Iguanodon or Trike Gen 2. So anyways, moving on, you'll start getting rares after playing for probably a day or 2. Rares are a bit harder to create than commons, but they shouldn't be too hard. So starting off, you will be seeing Pastasuchus. That's a day rare spawn. It is a very extremely strong rare dino. It is in the whole game, including like uniques, legendaries, epics. It has the highest turn 1 base damage, or turn 1 damage in the game. So you probably want to get one of those, and you could swap that out. You could swap Ophiuchodon out for that. If I could find it. Posasuchus. To make post measure, it's probably like level 10, so it's around here. Oh, here it is. And then the next one you want to get is Triceratops. It has stun. It has 3 stunning moves. The first one isn't too reliable, but the other ones, another one isn't reliable too, but it has one that's quite reliable, and it's quite good. It's a decent stun locker for starters. So Triceratops should be a good pick too. And then next we go to one of the night rares, which is very powerful as well. Basically, the same philosophy as your Posasuchus. You could throw out either Anki Gen 2 or Iguanodon for that. It just does a lot of damage. It has, Ferocious as well, and then also has a Cleansing Impact, which does a decent amount of damage and has okay health, okay damage. So yeah, Caprasuchus is a really good dino. It could also cleanse itself, as I mentioned before, and does a lot of damage on turn 2. Well, Postasuchus does a lot of damage on turn 1. Capro does a lot on turn 2. So moving on, you'll start seeing some nighttime dinos. And if you haven't swapped out Anki Gen 2 yet, swap that out for Nodosaurus. And if you haven't, just swap out Iguanodon for Nodosaurus. Nodosaurus is just a straight up upgrade from Anki Gen 2. It's quite good. It has an impact move, an arm piercing impact move, and also has shields. It has armor. It's a really, really underrated rare, in my opinion. It's quite effective. And then the next one you will come upon is a or not nighttime. I'm sorry, Nodosaurus is not night. It used to be nighttime, but it's another it's a anytime rare spawn. And another one of those is Utah Raptor. You could swap out Velociraptor or Dimetrodon Gen 2 for that. Velociraptor is quite decent in early arenas. It falls off a lot later, but just Raptors in general, not Velociraptor. So you could have both of these on your team, and it should do quite well. And next, moving on to your local rare, Erlikosaurus Gen 2 is an extremely strong rare dino. So you could have that in, probably take out Patasaurus. Patasaurus isn't that great, although it has a lot of health. It just doesn't do enough damage to do anything, really, unfortunately. So moving on, you should try and fuse one of the rare hybrids, which is Ankylocodon, which is the fusion of Anki Gen 2, Ankylosaurus Gen 2, and Ophiocodon, and it got a little nerf. It got actually 2 nerfs quite recently. Well, not that recent, but in terms of balance patches go. So but it's still a decent dino. It still has its kit as it has immunity, it has shields, it has armors. It does armor piercing. It's a great dino overall. So I probably swap out Triceratops Gen 2 or Stegosaurus for that. I just clicked on Triceratops range. Just which one is lower level for you? Because both of these you could only level up to. Actually, yeah, probably take out Triceratops because you're probably just gonna level Triceratops to level 10, so you could fuse for Stegoceratops. Well, Stegosaurus you still have to level to level 15 for Stegodius, which is by the way one of the best dinos in the game. So you'll have to wait on that. So probably take out Triceratops then. All right, the next one you probably want to do is Diplotator. Diplotator is the fusion of Diplocalus and Irritator Gen 2. Irritator Gen 2 is, I think, Arena 1's award. So as long as you play enough arenas, get enough, incubators, you should get that thing no problem. Everyone should be stacked with that DNA. And Diplocalus is a local 3 common, and it shouldn't be hard to get. So you could probably take out, say, Stegosaurus for that, or one of the Sucuses, if you think they're a bit too much. Let's see, where's Diplotator? Yep, here's Diplotator. And then after you got all your rares and stuff, you should probably should start getting some epics. The first epic you probably are gonna unlock is the Tyrannosaurus Rex, unless events happen. And by the way, I'm not taking in account any of the special event supply drop dinos or the strike towers and etc. Because those are I can't look into the future and tell you what's happening. But yeah, Tyrannosaurus Rex is a good one to have on your team. You could take out Caprasuchus for that. I or Posuchus, but I personally prefer Posuchus because it has more potential late game. Although you probably won't use Posuchus late game, but it actually is a decent pick. Where's my Rex? It should be level 20. Here it is. And yep, throw in Tyrannosaurus Rex, just great damage, high health, shield shattering. It's a really great first epic to have, and it's actually the most common epic in the game at the moment, considering its spawn rates. That doesn't mean you're going to see it all the time, but just in comparison to other epics. And then the next one you probably are gonna, or the next two you're gonna go for is Brachiosaurus and Baryonyx. Both of these are nighttime epics, which are quite a bit harder to encounter. So you probably might get the next two epics first before these two. But if you do get these two, just take out Nodosaurus for Brachiosaurus. Brachiosaurus is a great tank. And Baryonyx could take out one of the raptors, and I personally prefer Utahraptor over Velociraptor. And by the way, while I'm doing this, just one note for you guys: Local 3 is at the moment one of, or not one of the, it is the worst local to be in, unfortunately. They for sure will change that in the future, but at the moment it's just really weak. It has a lot of weak dinos, doesn't have a lot of good fusion materials, etc. So if you're in any of the other locals and you're trying to reference your team from this video, that's probably not the best idea, because a lot of these dinos that local 3 is gonna use, your local is probably not gonna use. The other locals have a lot better materials to work with. But anyways, back on the topic, let's take out Velociraptor for Baryonyx. Baryonyx is a not so reliable Rex. Um, it relies on a bit of luck, but when you do get luck on your side, it does way better than the Rex, because Rex usually doesn't survive too long after it takes out an opponent, and Baryonyx does have that survivability, but you need the crit for a lot of matchups for it to work. But anyways, moving on to the local epics. So first you got Monolophosaurus and Spinosaurus Gen 2. These are the local 3 anytime epics, so it's quite easy to get. Monolophosaurus should replace Diplotator, unless your Diplotator is super high level and you have a really low level Monolophosaurus, then I'd probably keep Diplotator, to be honest. But Monolophosaurus does have double distract. It could like make your opponent literally just do 0 damage to you. So that's quite fun. It has decent speed too. It's quite frail, but it does have distract, so it has survivability despite its super low HP. And the next one we want to throw in there is Spinosaurus Gen 2. Spinosaurus Gen 2 could take out Posuchus. Spino Gen 2 recently got a huge buff because of the damage over time changes. It's great. It also has Rampage, has decent health, okay speed, okay attack. It's just a really all-around decent epic to have on your team. And then the next one you should be getting is Erlikosaurus. There's quite a bit of debate of which one's better, Erlikosaurus or Erlikosaurus Gen 2. I personally still prefer Erlikosaurus because you have that run option, and people say, debilitating distraction, which is the move that Erliko Gen 2 has, is overpowered, but I don't really agree with that. I'd say since Erlikosaurus Gen 2 has extremely low health, and debilitating distraction has a cooldown, as a one-turn cooldown, so it's very likely that Erlikosaurus Gen 2 would either be at extremely low health in one-shot range, or already dead before you could use that move. So I'd just take that out for Erlikosaurus, the Gen 1, instead. It can hit and it could run, and it's has minimal speed up, which is nice. But obviously, if you have a way higher level Erlik Gen 2, you could keep that instead. Alright, moving on to epic hybrids. These, after a bit of time, you should start getting. The first one you should be getting is Nodopatosaurus. Notapatosaurus is a great dino. It's almost like a direct upgrade from Ankylodon, except it doesn't have immune. But it's a really great dino. It has a lot of HP, a lot of armor, has the shields, has to an extent some armor piercing damage, and also has a counter which sometimes helps. You could have some cool plays with it. You could swap rampage with Ehrlich Gen 1 and then run into Nodo, which has a counter, and then like they hit the Nodo and they get countered and they're dead, which is fun. So Notapado is a decent one to have. And next one, the next dino I'd throw in here is probably Gorgosuchus. Gorgosuchus, you have Gorgosaurus in local 3, so that helps a lot, and also Caprosuchus as a global spawn, so it shouldn't be too hard to get. I'd probably replace Baryonyx Gen 2 with Gorgosuchus. It's just, in my opinion, and always better than Baryonyx. If I could find it, should be what, level 15. My level 15 dinos. Oh, here it is. All right. For some reason, I miss the ones that aren't ready to level up, since the green ones they shine at you. And anyways, next one, Stegosera. It recently got a nerf, but it's still a really strong dino. I'd say replace either Utah or Mono for it, as it does the job better. Stegosera, actually, I have it at a decently high level. It used to be really good, but it's fallen off a bit. Quite a bit, actually. And next one I'd say people should be going for is Postmetrodon. Itself, it's really good, but more importantly, it's a material for Triostronics, a legendary hybrid later in the game. And I'd probably just take out Utah Raptor for Postmetrodon. I don't really see the point of having Utahraptor at that level. Uh, Considering Postmetrodon does more damage, and it also has immune, and it's decently fast. Not as fast as Utah, of course, but it gets the job done. You have a decent amount of dinos to deal with Raptor, so that shouldn't be a problem. And next, moving on, you should be getting your first legendary, which is probably one of the best dinos in the game. This is a dino that you will keep until Endgame. I personally would take out Notapado for it, but you could also take out Bracky for it. Both works. But obviously, mine, as you can see, mine's still level 27, and I still use it on my team. I'm considering taking it to all the way to max level 30. It's one of the best dinos in the game. You have to get this. And it's not hard to create at all. It's just a Nodosaurus, a rare, Stegosaurus, a common, and a Patasaurus, another common. It's not hard to create, extremely strong. Have this dino. And then next one I'd say you'd be getting is the Indominus Rex. And that dino, I should probably take out Spino for it. Indominus Rex, Cloaks, and Rampage, if you haven't heard of it already, you will be surprised when you have this thing. It is quite well. And next, let's move on to legendaries that you can make with local dinos. Local dinos, local 3 dinos. And that one should be Monostegotops. I personally don't have Monostegotops. I mean, I have the stuff to create it, but I'm personally, I'm not a fan of Monostegotops. I don't think it's a strong dino at all. It is a strong dino, but it's not anywhere as great as a lot of the other legendaries in the game. But unfortunately, you live in local 3, so what can you do? You'll have to, deal with what you got. And it, by all means, is not a horrible dino, so you could totally have it on your team. I take out Brachiosaurus for Monostegosaurus. I'll just put in Monolophosaurus in there, and that's, you could just think it's a Monostegotops. But anyways, moving on, you should try to get Triostronics. The only barrier for local 3 people is probably the Metrodon, which is in local 2, but if you hunt enough in local 2, use some rare sense, you could do it day or night, doesn't really matter. I personally prefer night, since you could also get Baryonyx with it. And anyways, when you get enough of that, you could probably take out Postmetrodon for Triostronics. Or you could take Gorgosuchus out. It really depends on you. I take Postmetrodon out, although I personally think Postmetrodon is a bit better than Gorgosuchus, just slightly better, but Gorgosuchus fills a role that your team doesn't really have, which is a revenge killer. Your only like big revenge killer in this team is your Ehrlich, which that's not a really good one to be honest. And yep, you got a Gorgosuchus and Trasronx, both of them in your team. And the next one you should be going for is a out of local, completely out of local. Well, not completely. I mean, one component is global, but another out of local legendary, which is a Utah Sinoraptor. It is extremely strong right now. It's a really good dino. Take out Ehrlich for it. It is Sino is in local 1, so you'll have to spend some time over there to get that. And the next dino you should want to be getting is Rajakylo. I personally haven't created it. I'm not. I like Rajakylo, but it just really doesn't fit my playstyle. It doesn't really fit my team, so I don't really have it at the moment. So I'd take out Stegosaurus for Rajakylo, and I'll just throw in Rajasaurus for instead of Rajakylo. So you get that. And next one is you should be getting your first unique, which is Indoraptor. Indoraptor is probably one of the best dinos in the game, and it's really nice to have. So Indoraptor, I'd honestly take out Rex. Just at that point, Rex just falls off, kind of. Doesn't really do much. It's just a core buster, which is good. It still does its job, but just everything else in your team is a bit better. And moving on, you should be getting Monomimus. Monomimus is a really, really good dino in this game, in this meta right now. And it's a bit hard to get since Gallimimus DNA is an arena exclusive. It's exclusive to, I believe, Jurassic Ruins. So you'll have to get up there first and then farm a lot of Gallimimus DNA or get lucky with, strike events or special events and get some Gallimimus. But when you after you do get enough, I think it's a really good dino to put in your team, and you have a lot of you have not a lot but a decent amount of shield breakers. You could either take Gorgosuchus out or take Monostegotops out. I'll just throw out Gorgosuchus then. Where's my Monomimus? Yep, there's my Monomimus. And then moving on, you should be getting your second unique, which is also a local unique. I'd say it's one of the weaker uniques, but it is still really, really good. You could use it. Obviously it's usable. It's not that horrible, but I personally don't think it's that great of a unique. But you live in local 3. What can you do? So yeah, the next unique is Erlodon. I say take out Monostegotops for Monostegotops. Just really isn't that great of a legendary, so that one should be easy. And obviously I haven't created yet. My Ehrlich isn't even up there yet, so I'll just put in Ehrlich instead. And the next one you should be focusing on is Dioraja. So that needs obviously your Rajakylo to get to level 20 first, which you need to go farm some stuff in what was it called, local 4. And fortunately, all its components are in local 4, so you don't have to go out for it. Oh yeah, and by the way, I forgot to mention one dino, which is Tragodistus, which is made with Amargacephalus and Parasaur, which is in local 4. You could have either that in or Rajakylo. It really depends on you. Depends on which one you have is at a higher level. I personally prefer Tragodistus, but Rajakylo is also really good. So yeah, just keep that in mind. You know what? I'll just throw in Tragodistus right now since I have Tragodistus and not Rajakylo. So yeah, the next one you should be going for is Dioraja. And Dioraja, you should take out Tragodistus for it. I just put it in, come on. Or not Tragodistus, or Rajakylo. I personally prefer Tragodistus over Dioraja, but since you are in local 3, you have a lot of Tajangosaurs. You could afford to level it up quite high, I'd say. So it's not a bad pick either. And moving on, Utah Rhinex. This one you'll have to go out of your way to go to local 2 again for to pick this dino up, uh, to essentially evolve your Yuthos Dino. It is probably one of the best dinos of the game at the moment. I know I've said that a lot, but there's a lot of great dinos right now. So yeah, you could put that in. And the next one you probably want is Dilorachyrus. And this one is it's a tough call. Since you do live in local 3, you have some resources that you could use. For example, Monomimus. You have Mono DNA and also Erladom. You have Erlico DNA. So these two you could actually keep on your team for your end game team. But if you don't plan on keeping them, you could take one of them out, I guess. But another good one to take out is Indominus Rex. Indominus Rex, because it's not that Indominus Rex isn't good. Indominus Rex is it's extremely good. It's an extremely good dino. But the problem with it is you're probably just going to level it up to level 20 and not continue. So that will become kind of stagnant, and you could take out Indominus Rex for Dilorachyrus. And then the last slot, it's really up to you. It depends on which one you have more, and if you can achieve, my personal preference for this last slot is Magna Pyrator, but it's a very expensive dino. But in this slot, and this is super super late game. It's probably like end game. So you could either put Magna in here, you could keep Traustronics in there, Alicino or Trichosaurus. They all do very similar jobs. It just depends on which ones you have at a higher level. So yeah, you could either keep Traustronics, you could put Trico in there or Magna in there. And here we have it. That looks like a decent local 3 end game team. Keep in mind that this is probably one of the weaker ones, but it could still work. It still works. You got your bread and butter here. You got your Stegodeus. You still have Indoraptor, Eudorynex. If you work hard enough, you can get that. Dilorachyrus, same thing. This spot, if you really can't get a Magna, and level it and stuff, you could throw in Triostronics. That's fine too. A Dioraja is a dino that you can have living in local 3, since you do have a lot of resources to level it up. Erladom is another one. It's not the greatest. And if you do have enough resources to replace Erladom, you could take it out for whichever of the other dinos I just mentioned. Put that in there instead. But if you do have it at a really really decent level, you could still keep it. It's still really strong. There's a lot of ways to use it. You could use it as revenge killer. It's you could cloak and run, or just go for straight up rampage. 125 speed is really bad, but it does outspeed a majority of the game, but not a majority of the meta actually. 125 speed, although it outspeeds probably like 80% of all dinos, but it probably only outspeeds like 15% of the meta, unfortunately. But yeah, you can still have this dino in, and voila, this is your endgame team. So you started off with stuff like Stegosaurus, Patasaurus, and now you get all these great stuff. And remember, that's Erladom for Lycosaurus and Dioraja for Rajasaurus. So I hope this video in some way helped you in deciding what dinos you want to be using, how you want to move towards in each stage, how you want to spend your resources, coins. That's very important, so you don't spend coins on dinos that aren't so useful, that you're not gonna that's not gonna help you, not gonna bring you higher in the ranks. So yeah, I hope this is helpful. And the next one I will be doing, I don't know which local I'm gonna, just tell me in the comments down below, or visit my stream. You know what, I'll stream should I stream tomorrow? I don't know. I'll mention it whenever, just leave it in the comments just in case. How about that? All right, so anyways, If you like this content, you think it's helpful, leave me a thumbs up. That would be greatly appreciated. I'll collect this incubator so people don't complain. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoy Jurassic World live content, I do a lot of that. So if you would like considering subscribing, that would be very much appreciated. And I just got a really bad 3 hour incubator, so I'm just gonna leave you guys with that. I'll see you guys tomorrow.